Yeah, hi Luke, how are you?
Hi, Cecilia. Doing well. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It's a very good pleasure talking to you. I'm speaking in behalf of Play BPM, and we're so glad you're here. So let's get started, shall
Okay. Yeah, me
we?
too. I'm so happy
So,
to be here.
that's amazing. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you so much. So let's go. First of all, I'm gonna talk to you about your to be released song "Home Alone" with Dub Dogs, which is a Brazilian duo that is very big here in Brazil, and we love it so much. So, first of all, were you familiar with the work before doing this collab, or were you fans of the duo? How did that happen?
Well, it's interesting because I was seeing their tracks come by on the various playlists and on Spotify. So I heard their work, but I never realized they were this big in Brazil. So yeah, when I reached out to them because I love their music, um, yeah, this was just incredible to work with. And then I started following them on the social media, and then I saw they were in front of these big crowds always. And yeah, I didn't know. So it was kind of more like an organic thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's how much good things happen, right? You just see them and you like them and you go for it. That's really nice. And about Brazilian sound, do you have anything specific about that caught your attention? Like it's a specific bass line or something like that you feel like, oh my God, I want to do a track with them because of that.
Well, I think right now the sound that someone like Vintage Culture is doing, for instance, is very much taking over the world, where it's more of kind of like a housey, progressive type of vibe, and maybe sometimes flirting with EDM, but it's definitely more hypnotic and housey. And this is something that I love, and I think it feels very fresh to me. And I think yeah, Dub Dogs does a lot of that too. The music is very streamable, and
Yeah.
yeah, obviously we had a whole time with the Brazilian bass coming through, but I think right now it's evolving now, and it's getting to be more of like a timeless sound, and I really like that.
Yes, it's turning into a more reachable like sound. It's going everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's really nice. We're liking that movement here in Brazil too. So let's go to the next question. You have like a very consolidated fan base here in Brazil, but I was wondering if you think now that you have a collab with Dub Dogs, if you think it's gonna go like to a whole nother level.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I didn't even think of that. I do have some show options coming in for Brazil, and it's been a while since I've played. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll be super excited to be back and to see what the situation is nowadays, because it must have been a couple of years since I was back. And actually, just before the pandemic started, I was going to be
That,
booked in Brazil, and then
that's
it didn't
Laroque.
happen. Yeah, at La Roque. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's something going on, and with me doing these interviews as well, or being here at BPM, I think this will work really well.
Yeah, definitely. We really think so too. It's gonna be like a very good for Brazil. You have a collaboration with the dogs. And I had a ticket for Laroque. I still
Wow.
have it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I hope to see you again in
Yeah.
Laroque. Again, no, because I've never seen you play live, but I hope to see. So, although the track isn't released yet, do you have you already played it on the dance floor? Did you feel the public respond to it just yet or no?
Well, it's interesting because this track obviously got finished during lockdown. We worked together on it, and
Mm-hmm.
and the lyrics as well. It's about being home alone, right?
Yeah.
And so to be able to play this now and to test it in front of a crowd is an amazing sensation. And yeah, I've played it a couple of times. It goes really well, sets the vibe, and gets the people dancing, and so it's nice.
Oh, that's amazing. Can't wait to hear it on the dance floor. still about tracks, you have one of the most iconic tracks of all times, which is "Show Me Love" with Stevie Angelo, that has over 80 million plays on Spotify. So I was wondering, how does that feel to have such an iconic track like that on
Oh,
your career?
oh, it's incredible. And speaking of organic things, this was an organic thing going on because Steve Angelo and I produced B originally. And then it was
Okay.
Hardwell that mashed up B with the Mobin Masters version of Show Me Love. And this became something I was playing, both Steve and I were playing for 2 years, and it destroyed the dance floor. And we were like, man, instead of this just being a mashup, we should make it an original. And so we did, and 10 years later, this is the result of it. And it's an absolute honor to have my name on such a big classic.
That's amazing. Like, I personally, when I hear it on the dance floor, I just go nuts. It's amazing. It's really, really nice songs. So, about curiosities about you, where do you find inspiration to produce music? Do you have anything special you do, like any ritual you do when you feel like you have a creative blockage and you're like, oh my God, I need to do that? How is that for you?
You know what? I actually rarely have a creative blockage. It's because I just love making music. I've been making music for, wow, this is going to be 25 years. So it's been a long, long time. So everything I can think of in my mind, I can make. So that's a nice position to be in. But most of the time, say if I don't have any inspiration, I'll just listen to some tracks and I'm like, okay, I'll take the beats from that track and maybe the melody of that track with the feeling of this track. Then I try to do something like that, and it will always come out sounding like a laid back Luke thing. And so, yeah, I'm always inspired.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. It's what you do when you really love what you do, right? You work with music and you are always inspired by it, and that's amazing. That's the whole point of it. Uh, Another thing that really curious about you, that we've noticed you're very engaged on social media and with videos and trends and like tips for producers and stuff. Has it always been like that, or is this something that got bigger during the pandemic?
No, it's always been like that. Actually, taking it way, way back, when I first started my website in the early 2000s, I had a little guest book on there. And on the guest book,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of young producers just asking me producer questions every day. And I was like, I love answering these. And so I was answering them, but the thread became like really long. So we needed to make it a laid back Luke forum. And on this forum, on this dedicated forum, I trained people like Avicii and Afrojack before they broke through. So
What?
they're kind of like my producer students, and there's a whole list of other famous names that came from there. But I still love doing those kind of things. Like naturally, I just love giving producer tips. I love to be engaged on social media. But also nowadays, I feel the content is a little bit different. Instead of like, oh, look at me, I'm on a private jet, or I have the lifestyle you can't have. I enjoy making videos that people can laugh to, or they just watch it and they enjoy themselves. And that's the mind state I'm in currently.
No, they are amazing. Like, you can relate to any post you make. You can relate even if you're not a DJ or a producer. It's amazing. We really liked your Instagram profile and all that stuff. And do you happen to interact a lot with Brazilians on your Instagram and stuff?
A little bit, yeah. It depends. It depends if they talk to me or not. But if they give me a comment or something, I love interacting and being in touch.
Because we know, like, Brazilian people on social media, we are like on fire, right? Some DJs are like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
yeah. Talking about the pandemic right now, the world's been through like one of the most difficult times of ever, and I was wondering, who were Lucas before the pandemic, and who is Lucas now?
Wow, wow, wow! What a great! It's so many great questions here.
Thank
The
you.
the
Yes.
Lucas before was kind of overworked And I was trying to tell people that, you know, it looks amazing, the whole tour life, the whole touring schedule, but it can be difficult as well. And to prevent someone like Avicii, you know, passing away, I felt I needed to push the message out there that people need to take time for themselves as well. But actually, it was also a message for me. And especially when the pandemic came, I was like, wow, now I'm home. What now? And so now the shows are coming back again. It's like, man, I'm just so grateful and so thankful that I am able to perform, to be able to call this my job, and to bring the music and make people dance. And so I came out being very grateful and thankful for everything.
That's amazing. We talk a lot here on our office. How must it feel for DJs and producers like to go on stage again? It must be so amazing, so amazing, so grateful. Really, really nice. And I don't know, mentioning Avicii, I have a question for you about that because we're talking a little bit about mental health, and you made a tribute with him with a remix of SOS, and I already figure you must feel very, very special about that song. But how special is that? Do you have anything to talk about it?
Oh, well, so special that when I got all the parts in for the remix, it was a Dropbox link from Tim Berg, his real name, and I opened it and I started crying just to see, you know, all of his original works, and that I was able to make my remix for it. When I was making the remix, I felt like he was watching over my shoulder. I get goosebumps talking about this.
Wow,
That he was watching over my, yeah, that he was watching over my shoulders, me making this. And I know, because I knew him from since he was a teenager, I know that he would really appreciate this remix as well. And so, yeah, that's probably one of the most amazing things I've done.
I'm sure he's really proud of you. Really, really proud. And oh my God, we're so proud of you for making this for the world.
Thank you.
The last question about mental health, it's not the last question yet because I still have 3 minutes. But we've been like, I don't know if it's a global thing, but we have a thing here in Brazil called Yellow September, that we take like the September 10th, the date that celebrates the prevent of suicide. And we did a lot of actions here on Play BPM about it, an article, super nice article about how DJs are responding to the pandemic when it comes to mental health and what's happening with our minds from people all over the world. And it's always a question that we make to DJs: how was the pandemic for you? And even though before, like with burnout and stuff, have you been through any kind of mental health condition? How did you get through it? How is it for you?
Yeah, so I've never been shy to promote this. Actually, in my career, I had 2 big burnouts. One when I was 20 years old, one when I was 30 years old. It had to do with being away from home and being busy with the career all this time. And during the pandemic, I was invited by a big DJ to join a big DJ mental health group. We have Zoom meetings every 2 weeks, and it's all in secret. Actually, I cannot like really talk about this, but what I can tell you is that every 2 weeks, almost like a big festival lineup of DJs comes together on Zoom, and we talk about mental health. And we openly talk about,
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, we openly talk about the things, you know, usually we can't complain about on Twitter, because if we complain about it, they say, oh, but you're famous and you're rich, and why are you complaining? But to our peers, we can say, oh man, I was here, or I'm struggling with this, or alcohol, or you name it. And so that's been really good. And I think even us doing this interview now over Zoom, the whole Zoom thing has been such a lifesaver, where you can just sit with someone and almost feel like as if you're together in one room. And so that's been nice, being able to talk about it like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. On our article, we talked about how does it feel like for you to go in front of like thousands of people and then on a room, a hotel room all by yourself, and that must be really crazy. So, really quick, like quick question, quick answer. Okay, it's for a thing we do here on Play BPM.
Okay.
We're gonna post it and we're gonna tag you. But one artist to collab with.
Vintage Culture.
Wow! Yes, Brazil. Best performance of your life.
Sensation White 2003.
Sensation. Yes, amazing. So a dream.
That I Can Fly.
Wow, amazing. A fear.
I am super afraid of spiders.
Like arachnophobic.
Arachnophobia, absolutely, yeah.
Oh my God. Favorite track of the moment.
Wow. A Craze, Do It To It.
Do it, do it.
Mhm.
Amazing. So I think that I have a personal question, but I don't know if I have time. But I noticed you do Kung Fu, martial arts. That's amazing. I loved it. And how does it influence the philosophy behind it, influence on your producing?
Everything. Well, Kung Fu means hard work. So through hard work, you get result. So I'm always
Yes.
very dedicated. I always do something 100% instead of half, or maybe delay it a little bit. I always just go full in, and Kung Fu keeps me out of stress. So that's really nice.
That's really amazing. Thank you so much for talking to us, for talking to Play BPM. We're so glad you are here. You are such a great spirit, loving person, and I really liked being here today. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you as well. Great questions. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.